I'll now invite Mr. Geist to give his opening remarks. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the committee for the invitation. Good morning. As you know, as you heard, my name is Michael Geist. I'm a law professor at the University of Ottawa, where I hold the Canada Research Chair in Internet and E-commerce Law, and I appear in a personal capacity representing only my own views. AI is one of the most consequential policy challenges that we face. In my opening remarks, I want to focus on three critical issues: privacy, copyright, and what I think is a need for an AI Transparency Act. First, privacy. Canadian private sector privacy law is by now, I think, widely recognized as badly out of date. Modernization would help establish much-needed safeguards for AI data, fix weak enforcement, and address data sovereignty concerns. But AI is also reshaping the privacy discussion, and simply restarting from past reform efforts, I think, is insufficient. Getting this right from an AI perspective requires addressing both sides of the AI equation, both what goes into AI models and what comes out. On the input side, there is a notable global shift towards more permissive treatment of personal information used for AI training. Japan, the UK, the European Union, have all softened rules, and I think Canada will undoubtedly face pressure to follow. The output side has received far less attention, but may prove more consequential. Modern AI can combine harmless fragments of information and draw inferences that re-identify individuals from information that was never meant to be personal. AI's real privacy threat isn't what it learns, it's what it figures out. Reform must treat the two sides differently. I think some flexibility on inputs, but paired with innovative approaches to outputs, including auditing of inferencing. I should also add that privacy reform is where data sovereignty is won and lost. Domestic infrastructure for AI may sound like sovereignty, but the servers could be in Gatineau, and it wouldn't matter if Canadian privacy law doesn't apply, or if weak enforcement lets extraterritorial laws like the U.S. Cloud Act fill the gap. Second, copyright. In the AI context, the application of copyright still isn't clear-cut. Outputs rarely rise to the level of actual infringement. Inputs are the subject of numerous lawsuits, but few have to date resulted in liability, suggesting that courts believe that inclusion of large language models often qualifies as fair use or fair dealing. The market, I think, as we just heard, may well develop new licensing models, but regulating licensing or new restrictions on fair dealing would render Canada a more difficult and costly country for AI. I think this presents two risks. First, AI development is likely to shift outside the country with less investment and fewer economic opportunities. Indeed, without a text and data mining exception, as is found in many countries, including the EU, the risk may already be here. Second, I think everybody would agree that we want to ensure that Canadian culture and heritage are well represented in an AI world. But if Canada becomes an outlier with licensing requirements that make Canadian content more costly or harder to include, AI developers will simply exclude it. The result will be less Canada in the training data and less Canada in the outputs. We saw this pattern with news on social media. Regulation intended to support Canadian sources ultimately produced fewer of them with substitutable alternatives. More Canada in AI outputs requires more Canada in the training data, and our policy should reflect that. Third, an AI Transparency Act. The lack of transparency around AI systems has eroded public trust. The recent concerns about OpenAI and the Tumblr Ridge shooter are a case in point. It should not take a meeting with company executives for the minister, or anyone else for that matter, to know about the company's policies on banning user accounts or reporting conduct to police. Greater transparency should be the starting point for any regulatory framework. An AI Transparency Act should do three things. First, ensure that AI corporate policies on user safety are publicly accessible, including standards for escalating beyond flagging content or banning users. Second, mandate transparency on which works are included in large language models, so creators have the information they need to exercise choice and exclude content removals, and seek content removals rather, on an opt-out basis if they wish. Third, require companies to publish annual transparency reports on government and law enforcement demands that target users or content. This approach addresses some of the real concerns without gutting privacy or locking in rules that may not fit in a fast-moving landscape. Canada has a genuine opportunity here. We have AI talent, growing public attention to governance, and I think cross-party interest in getting it right. The worst thing we could do is waste that opportunity on the wrong policies. I look forward to your questions.